you know.
Gotcha. Hey, all right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into the podcast. I know that Ashley is sitting there like, what the fuck is going on here? Because it was like just dead silence for like a minute to us. We couldn't talk during the intro. But anyway, yeah, we had some technical difficulties to you. First thing here. We can't get the camera to work for Ashley, but we're just going to go ahead and do it. If you're listening to this on our iTunes, it doesn't make any difference at all to you. So thank you for listening also via iTunes. And if you didn't know we were on iTunes, we'll be putting that link in our comments section or down there at the end of the YouTube video, so you'll be able to find that there. Anyway, yes, we've got an awesome guest here with us today. We're interviewing Ashleigh Wood you're from Calgary, right?
Yep.
Yeah, right on.
I sure am.
Right on. And are you back home? Have you made it back home, Ashley?
Yeah, I'm back home.
Yeah.
Right on. Have you watched the season yet?
I've watched most of the season except for the last 4 episodes. I know what's gonna happen, and I don't know if I'm ready to relive that yet.
I think the last 4 episodes is like a good I think everyone kind of feels that way. At least Spencer, you probably don't, but like yeah, I think it's like my last 4 it starts getting really rough to watch like
yeah, I can't do it. I don't know.
I can
Eventually,
watch.
I'm sure, but
well, you know, you should I don't have any trouble watching anything but the last episode because everything's going fairly decent for the both of us as third place finishers up until that point. So you had some struggles and you overcame them. I mean, with beauty. We're going to get into that as we talk about your game. But I mean, with your run at the POVs 3 in a row there at the end, that was awesome. You've had I've been an Ashleigh fan from very early on this game. I've sang your praises on not just our podcast, but on different ones, Rob Sister Nino's, Evil Dicks, and several other ones that you were playing a really good game. One thing that I personally loved about it is you surrounded yourself with allies at all times. You went from basically you moved from an alliance to another alliance, and that's kind of how I want to walk through this on how each alliance, chop shop diapers, and so on, kind of helped you as you moved your way to the end. But no, you played a fantastic game.
Absolutely.
Glad to be talking to you.
Absolutely.
So first off, let's kind of start from the start and talk about how you got involved with Big Brother. And let's take it from how you first became aware of the show Big Brother, whether you're a fan and watched it, or you were recruited or what have you, and then all the way up to getting us into the house.
I was definitely a huge fan. I watched all the seasons, Canada, the States, all of them. And I said, hey, why not just try? So I applied. I made a video, got the call, went to some open casting call, and it kind of just went from there. Maybe, semifinals, finals, so on and so forth. And then it was kind of like a dream come true. I actually thought I was dreaming the whole time. It was so surreal. Crazy.
I feel that.
Is your audition video, is that available to watch on YouTube? Do you have that?
It's not. No. Okay, I have it somewhere on my computer, I'm sure.
You should definitely put it up there because I know a lot of people would kill for that footage and to see what you did, how successful people make videos.
Yeah, for sure. I'll have to dig it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's people are going to ask you a lot about how you got on and how they can get on. You can say, hey, just go watch my YouTube video, and that's what I did. You know, give them some pointers that way. But excellent. I want to. So obviously, first came in the house, there was no furniture. Was
God.
that pretty shocking at first?
Well,
To
when
be, because
first,
like I know what it is to walk into the house. Sorry to cut you off. I know what it is to walk
No,
into the house, but we at least had somewhere to sit down. So
well,
start with that.
that's the thing, yeah. Well, when I first walked into the house, it didn't even right away, it didn't even hit me. I was just so excited to actually be in there. It took actually a couple minutes for me to be like, oh, wait a second, where's the furniture? Why is
Okay.
there locks on all these doors? What the hell is going on? And then obviously when I found that out, there's a slop bucket sitting there. There's no champagne. I'm like, okay, what?
That's a
There's
killer. That's
there's
a real
something weird
killer.
going on.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was brutal. It was brutal, but I was quite shocked. I didn't think I thought I was a big enough fan to know that that's not how the beginning of Big Brother is supposed to start.
Okay. Well, from the start,
Absolutely.
that wasn't the first twist. The first twist was really that every house guest was the
Oh.
first HOH. You, I believe, being on the majority side of most of the votes this season, you voted for Risha and Cindy. Is that right? It was
I
Risha,
voted for Risha and Bruno.
Risha and Bruno. Is that who it is? Okay, I knew that
Yeah.
Risha was in there.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel like that not having one HOH to talk to initially, that everybody kind of had that power? How did that work in with your first week strategy of trying to align or trying to make friends? Because you didn't have one person to go to kind of make sure you were good with them for safety. Like everybody was kind of okay except for the nominees. So how did that impact? Like take me with that. I want to hear what you did that first week.
The first week putting Rish and Bruno up, it had nothing to do with them being, the older people in the house or anything. Just getting into the house, those were the two that I had barely said a word to, had barely had any conversations with. So I knew that down the road, I maybe would not be able to work with them, or there
Okay.
wouldn't have been that natural ability for us to work together. So that's how I went. I know a lot of people in the house, like Sarah, and that they decided to put up people that they were threatened by, which again was a good thing. But I kind of wanted to just put up people that I didn't think that I had a chance to work with. Whereas if those people, like Sarah, putting up people that she was threatened by, maybe I could actually work with those people and not be threatened by them.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. With I want to find out though more about when the early on the gonna how when y'all had to vote. What was the how long had y'all known each other? How long had y'all been given the chance to speak before those votes were made?
Had probably about 45 minutes.
Okay, about 45 minutes. Okay,
Jesus.
In the
so
house.
just 45 minutes. Bruno and Risha were really the two people you talked to the least. Okay,
But that's
Well,
like the beginning is just like the total blind period. I mean, I don't remember the
Totally.
first 45 minutes, How can you
Yeah,
even
yeah, yeah.
remember like
No, you're
meeting
like-
people?
People are telling you their names. You're like, yeah. You're not
Yeah.
really listening completely. You just want to get it's
Absolutely.
It was horrible.
I wonder if
The first
I wonder
week
if they
was
kind of sequestered themselves. I mean, alienated themselves because they had the perspective of they were the older
Yeah.
ones. Like, is that a
I
thing?
think that for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Well-
Talking with Bruno afterwards, Bruno was saying, yeah, he kind of thought that, he was the older one, so he maybe was a little bit uncomfortable at the beginning, and obviously
Yeah.
it takes certain people a different amount of times to get comfortable
Absolutely.
in those situations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to get warmed up. Well, as far as okay, let's talk about the chop shop. What day did that fall?
Chop Shop, day 2.
Day 2.
Day 2 alliances are solidly bad, but I mean, man, it's like a
Oh.
good.
Well, here's
What?
the thing.
It worked
But
out
yeah,
both.
Go
it worked
ahead.
out for you.
Explain the chop shop. When I know that Bobby pulled us into that. Talk to me about when you got
Yeah.
into that. Tell me what you thought about all that.
Well, here's the thing. Willow and Greg had been sitting on top of the dryer and washing machine talking about forming an alliance in front of everybody. Everyone knew that they were talking about something up on the dryer, and we're like, what the heck are they talking about? Later that day, Bobby had came up to me and been like, there's something called the Chop Shop, and I put your name into it because I think that you would fit in with us. So I was like, okay. So later that night, I was talking to Bruno and Greg in the hot tub, and they, gave me the lowdown, who's all in the Chop Shop. And of course, when somebody comes up to you and says, hey, there's an alliance, do you want to be a part of it? You're not going to sit there and be like, no, I don't think so.
Absolutely.
Of course, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea.
It
But I
sounds
knew
awesome.
I was the last chucked in. So I knew that I'd be the first one to get kicked out of it. And I didn't even know how these people played the game yet. It was so
Sure.
early that,
Sure.
oof, I don't know.
But that was some safety in numbers. I
Yeah.
want to talk. I've got a fan question here. This is from the BB President, and since we're kind of involved with the Chop Shop right now, BB President wants you to explain your early to mid social gaming strategy.
All right. So, going in, I definitely wanted to work with a group of people. I wanted to have an alliance. Um, the Chop Shop came to me, and I thought, hey, this could be a good thing. But I later learned that you have to know how people work, how they play the game, and then build an alliance, not the other way around. So that's why it didn't work for me. So,
Okay.
and then I had a natural attraction to the diapers, so that kind of formed. It just fell into place with them. So I wanted to definitely have a strong group of people that I could trust on, that could trust on me, and then I really just wanted to go all the way with them, and then just duke it out.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So basically, surrounding yourself with numbers and strong players, bigger
for
targets.
sure.
Okay. So let's talk about your alliance with Zach. What day did that really start?
Oh, alliance with Zach. Sometime around, I'd say week 2 or 3.
Week 2 or 3. Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
are y'all hearing my voice echo?
Yeah, definitely. I think I don't know. I don't know. Maybe turn Ashley, you want to turn your phone or iPad down a little bit?
Yeah.
Ashley, do you have headphones on? Like
No, I
earbuds
do
in?
not.
Do you
Is
have
that better?
Do you have any? Oh yeah, Spencer talk.
Can you hear me?
You're fine. You're
Let's
fine.
let's
All
go.
right,
Let's
we're
slow
good.
down.
Good.
All right. All right. All right, sounds good. Okay, we were talking about with your alliance with Zach. Okay, from very early on, he had a lot of kind of control of the house. Was that was pretty easy to see,
Oh
clearly,
yeah.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. A lot of people. It seemed like everybody wanted to talk game with Zach. He was kind of the go-to guy, and it was pretty obvious that anybody that was, um, behind him would be okay and go far, and that seemed to be the role that you fit into very nicely. It was a really good pairing. I liked that y'all were able to sit around and talk so much game a lot. As somebody that watches the feeds, it was good to be able to hear what y'all were thinking by a lot of game talk.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, by the way.
No, of course.
Um, let's see.
What
Okay,
did what was your
the
plan though? What was like when you like being with him or like being like in an alliance with Zach? Like what was your thoughts? Like I mean, I've been in that like kind of situation. Like I've been in a thing that's like, okay, well this is going to get you targeted, you know? Was that going
Yeah.
through your mind? Like
I
and
feel
what point did
yeah.
you like sort of make the turn and like, well, I can use this still
Yeah,
even though it
because
is a target?
and your loyalty was, as you made it clear in your diary room sessions, was to Peely there at the end.
For sure.
You and Zach seem to have an understanding that he respected you as a game player enough to know that you wouldn't take him in the final two, and that Peely was your final two.
Yep.
So y'all had a very good working um, alliance in the house. And go ahead and answer McCrae's question, but sorry, but no,
No,
it's like that's just how y'all work together, and I want to hear about it.
yeah. Well, I knew Zach and I just naturally got along, game wise and other things, but I knew that being in a showmance that definitely does put a target on your back, but so does doing pretty much anything else in the house. Even if you don't do
That's a great
anything, that
point.
makes you a target.
That's such a
Sure.
good
So
point.
why not be a target with somebody that I knew would be a bigger target than I would at all times? Even if I was to go out of my way and win competitions like crazy, just being in a showmance, I think with somebody who's so physically fit,
Mhm.
they just people automatically assume that that's just going to be the bigger target. They're
Mhm.
just
Sure.
going to I feel like I was just viewed as kind of like, oh, she's just this blonde young girl, da 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 da.
Yep.
And aligning myself with somebody who was such a physical threat, I feel like definitely benefited my game.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. I think that, yeah, that was one of the big things on this show that we always talked about how, like, it was such a smart move. Like, it's obviously you were using him in a meat shield sense, or, you know, like you were pushing him out
Yeah.
in front, and you'd always be behind him, you know, and just ready to
Yeah.
catapult yourself further after he goes. I mean, to me, it seems so obvious, but, like, a lot of the people out there did not get that. And I always
Yeah.
think that is the shame of Big Brother, that some of these,
Yeah.
like,
For sure.
idiots just do not understand what is going on.
Yeah, I said that you were able to do what Allison was unable to do last season. When she came in the house, she wanted to try to work with Andrew because she was able to tell that he was kind of like a alpha male around the house,
Mhm.
and it just didn't work out as well for her. as it did for you. I want to talk about like mid game. One thing that happened when Cindy came back in the house, she told everybody about the chop shop. That was about the first time that you kind of got into some hot water. That was some interesting. Go ahead and tell us what Cindy coming back in the house. How that shifted your game, because that seemed to be around the time the diapers formed, and that was really the beginning of people knowing that Ashleigh's playing the game.
When Cindy came back and told everyone about the chop shop, obviously it did throw me for a loop, but by that time I had already formed something with Peely, Kev, Jordan, and Zach. And I was so glad that Peely was the one that was in charge that week with Cindy coming in with that information, because if anybody else had been, I may have been in trouble, even though I still feel like other members of the chop shop would have probably been targeted before myself.
Yes.
But having Peely being HOH that week really did help me, because I went to her and I said, my alliance, like, I am loyal to you 100%. I just didn't tell you about the chop shop because I didn't want it to get out there. I didn't want to be seen as like a snitch or something, and there was no point really to tell her. And she kind of understood that, and that's how I just had to do some damage control to make sure that Cindy, who was a huge threat in the game, went home.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, okay. Cindy was a huge threat. What of all the people that came back in the house, who'd you most preferred? Greg?
Out of all the people, before knowing what Greg's plan was when he wanted to come back into the house and how he wanted to destroy the chop shop, Chop City, or whatever that was, yeah, maybe seeing Greg.
Okay. I figured that at that time, still, I guess, maintaining some loyalty to what was left over of the chop shop, that you want Greg to come back in. Okay.
Yeah.
I can tell you this, that I don't think you'd have had much to worry about had Greg come back in the house with the Chop City Alliance
respect to
taking
Greg.
over and doing much of anything.
Exactly. I know there was a couple times where Greg there was saying he wanted to come back in, start Chop City and self-evict, and just gotta love Greg.
Yeah.
Greg is great.
Start
That's so
Chop City
funny.
and self-evict. That would have been like the funniest week on television ever.
But I would have done it.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, all right.
Well, here we start to get
Go
into,
ahead.
like, I think, like, the most interesting part of the season. This is where it, like, pretty much just starts getting twisty. And, you were pretty much on the wrong side of a lot of these twists coming up here.
Yes.
What is your morale? How are you feeling going through all this? Like, getting week after week of, like, oh, we're getting shit on again. Like, take me through that a little bit.
It's so, like, internally defeating. After every twist, what happened, it was totally against my side of the house, I guess you could say.
Yep.
And totally benefiting the other side. But twists come, it's Big Brother, expect the unexpected. So I just had to do what I could with them and really just try to turn things around for myself. But it was tough.
Well, I mean, like, I want to applaud the way you handled after your HOH week. And basically, I think they're referring to it as the have-not twist. Now, I think I've heard that. As the have-not twist was played out, totally screwing up any intentions you had, screwing up your HOH. And then after that, you could have been real defeated. I mean, I know you said you watched BB in the States, but I don't know if you remember Chima, but she had a meltdown.
When pretty much the same thing happened.
Had the same meltdown. You had
exact
like
thing.
Worst.
You got Shima essentially, but you didn't. You handled it like a champion, like a pro.
Like, that was one thing that was interesting about your game, is every single twist worked against you, and you somehow still positioned yourself in a way to make it advance week to week. I mean, like, you were never a replacement nom, and you were never even nominated until the final 6. Like, that's really pretty incredible. Like, you played a very good social game.
Yeah.
You played, obviously, you were a great competitor. You knew week to week how to move forward, and with everything, including, I mean, like, you got to say Twist is production. So even with production working against you, you were able to overcome it and get very, very, very far. And damn that final HOH.
Oh my gosh! Damn that HOH! Seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, it haunts me.
Oh yeah, get used to it. Alex said the best or whatever, where it's like, oh, don't worry, like, it only goes away when you die. Like, that's like, oh my god, man, just take solace in the fact that all of us feel the exact same way. We all think about it the exact same way. Whoever says they don't is a liar. Like.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hear ya.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I want to hear. Okay, the first time that you voted in the minority, it was the Godfrey JP vote, where huge blindside. Everyone was shocked. It was totally awesome to watch. I was giddy all day knowing it would happen. And even though I like JP, I just love a good blindside.
Yeah.
And I was starting to really. Godfrey was starting to grow on me at that point in the game too. So when JP left. Did that help or hurt your game ultimately? Do you think now looking back?
Oh.
I know he was a diaper. I know that, and that's a number. But the way he played between Kevin and Zach, I mean, do you think that it was probably better for him to have left that week? I mean, hindsight. I mean, you know what I'm saying. It worked out for you. You can always say that. But do you think it made your road easier or harder with JP gone that week?
With Jordan leaving, I know Jordan was really good at kind of working all over the house, talking to everybody. He did have a really, really good game, and I don't think he's credited enough for that. But
I agree.
I feel like he, at the end of the day, was a number that was working in my favor, and I did not want to see him go yet. Okay. I would have much rather seen Godfrey go because I knew that he was on the other side of the house. It was clear he was coming after Zach. It was not time for Zach to go for my game, or for his, obviously, because he doesn't want to leave. But Jordan staying would have definitely probably benefited my game. I could have seen somebody from the Diaper Alliance totally taking the whole game if Jordan stayed that week.
Okay. Yeah. I guess potentially that would have happened because with Godfrey gone, there wouldn't have been much middleman. It would have been would have been side to side. And that would have been interesting to have seen play out. Okay, let's talk about this. You got a visit from your mom, and you got a family. Did you get a family video?
Yes,
okay,
I did.
So you got kind of two little gifts from the outside world.
Yeah.
I bet that was a huge morale boost, seeing as how the rest of the game was going for you.
It literally lit a fire under my butt. Seeing family, and I definitely got those things when I needed them the most, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I was okay. Like, I'm a bad person to talk about it because, like, I never got homesick or anything.
Yeah.
Like, I never cared about a HOH letter or, like, a video from home I could have cared less about. But a lot of people, it gives them, like, the motivation. And
you fucking love seeing Marilyn. You fucking put on tough guy act, but when you saw that picture, I saw the tears coming down. You were bawling like a baby. Okay, Hardy.
Getting called out.
Yeah, it's Mr. Softy.
I didn't cry. It was nice to see, but if I never got it, it would have been just as anyway, fuck that.
No, that would have been huge. Like, that literally, like, even when I see that stuff now, I get, like, choked up, like, where I wouldn't have before, but, like, I put myself in, like, your guys' like, spots, you know, and so it's like when you see your family, it's like that would have, like,
crazy.
The energy of a million gods,
For those two worlds to collide is just,
it's got to be it's got to bring a smile to your face just thinking about it. Like, I like that.
Godfrey, when he walked out there and saw his sister, he had like the funniest thing because he said, "What are you doing here?" And like it's just like you said, it's the worlds colliding. Like that person does not belong in the
backyard.
So weird.
It's so surreal. I honestly, when I saw my mom in the backyard, I thought that it was a dream. And I didn't really react much till after when I got back into the house and I had a little emotional breakdown because it was just.
Sure.
Crazy.
So okay, back to some more game stuff. Week 7, you voted Peely out. You wanted to vote Peely out over Willow there during that craziness. Why? Chop shop?
Oh, you mean vote Willow out over Peels?
On week 7, didn't you cast a vote was that the triple eviction to keep Willow?
No, to keep Peely.
Keep Peely over Willow? Yes, that's what I meant. Yeah. Why did you never mind. Okay. I was confused here with my notes. All right.
Okay.
All right. Good deal. All right, McCrae, take it away while I flip through here a little bit. Do you have any kind of questions in the
chat? Ask Ashleigh about her sassy finger. What does that mean?
Oh gosh.
Is that bad? Is that something bad? Is that an uncomfortable one?
No.
Okay.
When I ripped Godfrey apart and we had to decide who we wanted to kick out of the jury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was the first time I kind of really broke down slash lashed out at somebody in the house.
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
And my last little thing, it's kind of an image on the internet now, is me just pointing at Godfrey saying, "Do it," because he wasn't doing anything, and we were we were in the vault for 3 hours,
Oh,
three
really?
3 hours. Wow.
just a constant like continuous loop of not getting anything done, and it was so frustrating. And
And
Sarah had just lashed out at Godfrey, so then I lashed out at Godfrey, and Godfrey later said to us, "Yeah, I was just trying to push your guys' buttons.
that
Congratulations, you
motherfucker.
did it.
That's
Good for
awesome.
you."
Oh, that's great.
That
That's
guy.
awesome. Hey, I was looking back at my notes here that I had preseason on you. I had you picked in some of my pools. I want to know, like, you come from a really big family. Did that help you in the Big Brother house?
Yes, I do come. I have a huge family, and it's a mixed family too. So all my siblings are like steps and halves and da da da. So I'm used to kind of being in living situations with a lot of people sharing a bathroom, not a lot of privacy, dealing with different personalities all the time. So it definitely did help me out, I would say, for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What's
Go ahead.
We've got another. I've got a couple questions coming in here. Um, do you think that you would have won against Godfrey? Asks a mile away.
It would have, if Godfrey had taken me, I think he could have had a chance to win. After the conversations I had with the jury, I think it really would have come down to who would take who. I feel like Godfrey's chances would have been a lot higher if he would have taken me,
Hmm.
but I'm not sure if I would have beaten Godfrey or not, to be honest.
Well, I mean, do you? I'm guessing you obviously had your speech planned. Would you care to give us a little bit? Do you know what you would have said? What would your like? It's tough because you probably know exactly. I mean, of course you know what he said, but like, what would
Yeah.
your speech been? What would have
I,
it been?
Yeah, I would have mostly talked about how during this game I wanted to come in here, lay low. There was a lot of big personalities that kind of fought, and all the big personalities pretty much went out right away. So I would have laid low, build my social game with people that I trusted and worked with them, and then when it came down to it, just start winning those competitions. I won veto after veto after veto. Every time I was on the block, I had to save myself, and I did save myself.
I think that was definitely a huge selling point. Like that was
The
like
yes, the
pretty much
vetoes.
cornerstone. I feel, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
That brings a fan question here.
Yeah.
At the MCG, so were you hiding your inner comp beast, or was that part of your strategy? I mean, you definitely won and kicked it on. You needed to. Were you not trying as hard in other competitions, or
I definitely could have tried harder in earlier competitions. Again, I didn't. I feel like going into the house, I was kind of viewed as again like the young blonde. She doesn't really do anything, whatever. And I did milk that a lot. I
okay,
definitely did want to milk that. But when it came down to I had no choice, I felt like when I was under pressure, I performed a lot better, and I was
okay,
able to, win those competitions.
right on, right on. Which one was the best veto to win?
Best
Taking you,
veto to win. Oof. I'd have to say the last one where I
keep
got to
it,
decide for Brittany to go.
keeping Britt out of the final three. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to
In
say
the
that one.
house, who did you see? Who did you see is ultimately playing the better game, and what distinguished the better game between Sarah and Brittany?
For me, being in the house, watching them interact, to me, it looked like Sarah was really like a mastermind. Like she was
Okay,
talking to every single person every single day, annoying the crap out of us. But that was her playing the game, and I feel like she had a lot of influence over Brittany and her decisions. Not saying that Brittany wasn't playing the game for herself, but I feel like Sarah really did persuade Brittany a lot of the time, and Brittany really did take what Sarah had to say, and really kind of a lot of her actions kind of showed that, I would say. So I feel like Sarah definitely may have played a little bit better of a game.
okay. So of the
hmm.
two, you think Sarah's game was superior to Brittany? Okay, excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. Do you feel overall that the best game player of the season won?
I would say yeah. There was there was a lot of good players for different reasons, but for
Absolutely.
Sarah, for the game, it's a social game. You have to cover your bases. She got to the end without really having to win anything. She didn't really win a lot of competitions, but that was just how she talked to every single person every day. That girl did not rest. So it was really definitely a well-deserved win, I'd say.
Okay. Okay.
Awesome.
Excellent. Excellent. No, I think obviously, you voted for her. I know that was a vote for Sarah and not against Godfrey. I know
Yeah.
there's a difference at times, but no, I'm glad to hear that. Uh, Watching the season, I really enjoyed it. I know that you've heard a lot about the twists,
Yeah.
cause the season to be kind of difficult to watch at times or whatever. I may have phrased that wrong. It wasn't difficult to watch. It was just very twisty. It was just very twisty.
Yeah.
It
But
was.
you of all people had a front row seat, and you were on the receiving end of all the negativity of
Well,
all the twists.
Speaking of
And,
twists,
and I
like
admire you for keeping the attitude. If all you
absolutely,
got was
that's
your
big.
what was that finger called? What's
Sassy
your
finger, sassy
so
finger.
if all you got was sassy finger with Godfrey there when you're locked trying to figure out who to kick out of the jury,
Yeah.
like with all that you went through, you are very calm, cool, and collected, and
Yeah.
and that's one thing that I truly feel like is important to be a good Big Brother player, and you definitely have that quality. So
Thank you.
those qualities.
Thank you. Well, I couldn't. Yeah, the twists were against me a lot of the time, but at the end of the day, there's a million thousand people who would die to be in that house,
Sure.
and who am I to be bitter about
Oh, that
these
makes me
twists?
so
It's all
happy.
part of the game,
That makes me so happy. Yeah, that's like
No.
you're a true player in my eyes. Like that's a
Thank
real
you.
game player. Like I don't know that attitude of like this is the best chance ever. Like oh my god, like
Well,
people
it
would
was
kill for this.
great.
Like twist, who gives
Yeah.
a shit? Like that's the game. Like if I get through this, like it's
Exactly.
even better. I think that's so
Yeah.
commendable. Actually, yeah, yeah.
Well,
Thank
I've
you.
got some Peely questions to ask you. Okay.
All right.
I don't mean any of these disrespectful to Peely.
Yeah.
I don't know what you've seen or heard
Mhm.
about her, but she kind of caught it rough. I would think people being critical of her game.
Yes.
Uh, in the house, did you see her as a strategic counterpart, or is she strictly a buddy and a vote on your side? Did she offer any real strategic input to your end game?
Um, with Peely, having her in the house and having somebody that I could constantly have conversations with and kind of think out loud to, she would definitely put her input in things that I had to say and kind of guide me sometimes. Like, she constantly remind me that, we're not going to be able to beat Zach in the end. And she'd always bring that up, which was very true. There was definitely times where Peely shined. I think she got like um, she has a lot of rough opinions about her. She played the game for sure. I don't think she sat around and did nothing as much as people say.
Sure.
I would definitely credit her a little bit more than people are giving her. And I know it's tough for me to see how not a lot of credit she's getting, but she definitely had a mind of her own, and a lot of her decisions were her own. I know it was kind of portrayed that Kevin had a lot of control per se over her, but that she had a brain. She thought for herself a lot of the time as
Okay.
well.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And in a lot of the situations, people are like, oh, they're only, she's only doing what Kevin says or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And the situation is really, well, that's good for both of them. So
Yeah.
she's not being told what to do.
Well,
She's
that's
just
the
agreeing
thing,
with something that's
too.
also good for her, and it's just easy for her to say, okay, you do that, and I'm going to sit here and we'll talk next,
Well, exactly. I feel like when you're working so closely with somebody, and it always happens when you have a girl and a strong guy working together, it doesn't matter what each one said. At the end of the day, it always looks like the girl's following whatever the guy wants to do because he's a big, strong guy and she's just his puppy and blah, blah, blah. But that's not necessarily the case. They talk it out together, you make decisions together, and that's what I saw Peely and Kev do.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, she just all season she got, and I blame it on the edit. They kind of gave her the
Yeah.
dingbat edit,
Oh, for sure.
and Peely's obviously a sweetheart, and I can't wait to interview her and really kind of pull a lot of her game stuff out of her and kind of show
Yeah.
our audience give them a little bit more insight into her game
Yes.
because you don't make it as far as she did. by just being by being
By just sitting there and looking
brainless
pretty.
and
Yeah,
listening to everybody else and being pretty. Yeah, absolutely. So
exactly.
okay, what was your
Well,
favorite? I'm gonna get to some. I want to get. Go ahead.
Carla Myers asked, "How did you bounce back after watching Zach then Peely walk out of the door within hours of each other?" Which I think is a great
Um,
question.
that was one of the most tough days for me in the house for sure. I remember crying myself to sleep that night. Um, I I felt super alone, obviously. And I remember that night it was just Godfrey and I sleeping in the main bedroom because Britt and Sarah were having their slumber party in the HOH. I felt super alone. I didn't feel like I had anybody. So for bouncing back, I knew that I just had to, strap on my big girl pants and just start winning things because I knew that from then on out, if I didn't win anything, I'd be going home and I wasn't ready to go home. I also tried to kind of grab onto Godfrey and use him as an ally, which didn't really work because I knew that I couldn't really trust Godfrey because all season he was just kind of all over the place and I didn't really know where his head's at because that
Yeah.
was his strategy and it was really good. It worked for him, but my back was against the wall. I had no choice but to, suck it up and start winning some stuff.
Can we talk about Godfrey's game for a second? The way you
Yeah,
viewed it, okay? Because he's been getting a lot of credit for his game, and I for one believe that it is deserved. He
for
played.
sure.
He was basically a in the diary room who's able to articulate what he's trying to do. He's clear about not wanting really to needing to be in any alliances, and that play in the middle was the game that he wanted to play, and that's a very tricky game to play.
For
Um,
sure.
how did people view Godfrey in the house? How did you view him? How did you feel like the other side viewed him? And was it sneaky or was it just kind of goofy Godfrey? How did you tell me about Godfrey's game and your view of it?
From the very beginning, a lot of us, before there was any really alliances or anything, Godfrey was kind of just the target because he was kind of the odd man out. He didn't really make many personal connections with people right off the bat because he was playing that middleman. We'd always kind of just be like, "Oh yeah, Godfrey's there. We'll get him out later. We'll get him out. It's an easy one." Da 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 da. And that's what Godfrey wanted us to think, and that's what we did think. And Godfrey was very good with that and working his strategy. Um, Near the end, in the middle, Godfrey made it clear that he was coming after the showmances, but he never necessarily actually performed any like actions, like winning comps or winning an HOH and coming after us. But somehow, his conversations he would have with the other side of the house really propelled them to come after us. So he kind of manipulated the other side of the house in that way, which is also a really good game wise. But
Absolutely.
even near the end there, Sarah and Brittany, Godfrey was closer with them, but even they said that they didn't necessarily trust Godfrey just because a lot of the times he would tell people what we thought that he would tell people what they wanted to hear. And we all knew that we couldn't really trust him, but for some reason he just stuck in there and he was good at what he did for sure.
Would you say this might sound like a dumb question initially, but
Yeah.
I just want to see if I know the answer. Would you say that you trusted Godfrey 51% or 49%?
Uh, 49%.
Really, really,
Yeah.
I would have guessed 51. I would have guessed
Yeah.
51 because it seems like you believed him just enough that just it seems like everybody believed in Godfrey just enough that he was able to
That,
keep playing the middle. Like they were on to him, but it was like okay, you know,
yeah.
when it comes down to voting time or whatever, Godfrey will do the right thing and be more with me than with the other side.
Yeah.
So okay, so 49%, interesting. All right, all right. Um, your your final two with him. Did you know it was bunk? I mean,
I part of me thought that maybe he would take me because I don't know, just because, but a part of me also thought that he would take Sarah because he was
sure,
telling her the same thing. So
sure.
I didn't really know where his head was at, just like how I didn't really know where his head was at all season.
Okay.
But yeah, obviously I was a little disappointed, but it is what it is.
So this is like a perspective that only you two have. I don't understand this perspective. Like, how does like you guys? You're in there with the final. It's the final three. Everyone
Yeah,
has to be telling everyone like I'm taking you. I mean, even me, like I did have like, oh yeah, I'm taking you to everyone, of course.
Sure.
But it's like,
yeah.
how do you start to like sift through what is the truth and what is like? Is it just everyone just is so untrustworthy that are
Well,
like, are you just on pins and needles? Like, what the fuck is gonna happen?
Exactly. That's how I felt with Godfrey. It was just like, I don't know if I can believe what you're saying, because he said, yeah, I'm taking you, I take you, I promise, blah, blah, blah. Sarah actually told me she wasn't taking me. She
Okay,
told me
okay.
that she was just straight up like,
Ballsy.
I don't think I could beat
Ballsy.
you, da 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 da. She told
Yeah.
me straight up that she wasn't taking me, and I told her that I was leaning towards Godfrey. But there was a time when I seriously contemplated between the two of them.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, she knew that I would have chosen Godfrey, and then
Mhm.
Godfrey was just telling us both that he would take us both.
Okay.
So
Okay. When like this is one thing that I experienced in the final three is when I'd get called to the diary room, I would be like, and they would just be talking to me about what I felt was just bullshit, and
yes,
I would say like they are out there making this final two deal. And, like y'all are
exactly.
here talking to me about bullshit. Let me get out of here. That was about the
Uh-huh.
only time I really got stressed off at production. Was when like I mean I knew what they were doing. I knew that for me anyway that I had pretty much no hope in Andy taking me.
Yeah.
The best I could hope for that Gina Marie would be smart enough to at least try to beat me instead of Andy. But it's that is a stressful time because anytime you're away from the other two, you know what they're talking about. There's nothing else to talk about at the final
Exactly.
three. They're
I
gonna
was even
take it, and it better be me.
yeah, I was
So
even scared to go to the bathroom or go take a shower because I
exactly.
knew that the second they'd be alone, there'd be game talk. And Sarah's such a good talker. She's
Yeah.
such a good like she can manipulate so well that her being with Godfrey alone terrified me, and rightfully so. I mean,
Absolutely.
look,
Sure.
she got
Absolutely.
Do
she
you
got
think?
him to take him. So
And this is really a question for Godfrey, obviously. But do you think that she talked him into taking her, or do you think that, or do you think that was just his plan the whole time, or
I definitely think she played on his heartstrings a little bit. I definitely think her words propelled Godfrey to take her for sure.
okay? So there's a point you think you may have had him and you lost him.
Yes.
Mm,
Even afterwards, Godfrey had said to me, he's like, "Yeah, it was a great last minute decision that I would had to pick between the two of you, and it was just Sarah was a better talker than I was. She was so much better at that."
wow, wow. Okay, okay. Well,
Yeah.
well, Ashley, you played an incredible game. Somebody in the comments talked about how Evil Dick gave you props for your game,
Mhm.
and that's that's a compliment because
That's a huge compliment. Yeah.
That's crazy.
about
I'm
the
Mick
only game
Pussy.
that I've heard him ever
Yeah.
about the only other game I've heard him talk good about is his.
Yeah,
So
Really?
absolutely.
no,
I had
no,
no idea.
no.
That's
No,
awesome.
no, like I like Dick a lot, obviously, and he
Yeah.
was
It's fun to
he
bust his
spoke
balls.
highly of you also.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah, like you got a year's time in the house was pretty interesting. I think what it was Frank Udi, Shane Meany, and James from BB9.
Yeah.
Uh, you're the fourth house guest to win 3 consecutive POVs, so you're in pretty elite.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think you're the first female to do that, and you're tied. You're the first female house guest in BB Canton history to win more than one power veto. Is now tied with Emmett and John Party with POV wins, most POV wins.
That's
So,
Wow.
fucking
yep.
sweet.
Holy
That's
moly.
that's
No
super.
idea.
So yeah, you're in pretty good company with your stats there, and I
Crazy.
think that's awesome. So and every time that you're nominated outside the finale, you won the POV, and I
Yes.
mean,
Yes.
That's
so
big.
like
Yeah.
that's big. You played
That's
awesome
big.
game. I'm really like I said, I'm patting myself on the back. I was bragging on you very early on,
Thank
and
you.
you didn't let me down. And in fact, it's awesome because I've had people tweet to me and be like, "Hey, you were right about Ashley. She was awesome." Blah blah blah. So you
I
got a lot
love
of
it.
fans. You got a lot of fans out there, Ash.
That's
So
awesome.
all right. Well, I want to give a quick shout out. This is switching gears big time, but our sponsor, Zips Wine, I forgot to shout him out earlier.
Zips
You go to
wine.
zipswine.com,
Only the
and
finest in wine
only the
entertainment.
finest in the single serving wine. Perfect.
Still fresh and delicious.
What are you drinking there,
I'm
McCrae?
drinking on Sherlow. Oh wait. Only the finest Sherlock by
Yeah,
Zips Wine.
yeah. Enter promo code. It's like a coupon code on the block 15, and you'll save 15%. Uh, Maryland tried to order it, so I need to have this disclaimer out there. No offense to our sponsor, Zips Wine,
Zips
but
Wine.
they don't mail to every state. You can't get it mailed to And like I don't know about how the how Canada that works. I don't know if they can ship to Canada, Ashley. So I don't know if you can order Zips wine, but we did have a problem ordering it just because of our state.
They're actually going to have a tent in at Pride Parade maybe next weekend, I think, in Minneapolis here, which I'm going to.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So if you guys can catch me at the Zips Wine, I'm gonna try to finagle some drinks.
Excellent.
Yeah, so catch me at Zips Wine. Zips Wine,
Right.
the official sponsor of On the Block. Also, Tim the Terrible. You can get some Tim the Terrible shirts everywhere. I don't know. They're somewhere on the internet. But more importantly, if you have an iPhone, iOS, you can get Tim the Terrible, the game, Tim the Terrible, Minion Madness. Get it on iPhone now. It's badass. It's got my voice in it. It's crazy. It's awesome. Everyone check that out.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Sorry for our...
Do you have anything you need to plug right quick? Hey, y'all have a meet and greet coming up, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Let's talk about that.
June 20th in Regina.
Alright.
It'll be me, Zach, Peely, Kev, and Johnny.
Okay.
Is
and
that...
Alyssa.
I was gonna say
Alyssa's
Alyssa's gonna be there too. That's where she's making residence in Regina now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
she's
is.
living there.
She's moving up there.
I know. I'm
Yep.
jealous.
It's-
Canada's the
yeah,
place to be.
It's a charity event. It's $10 at the door, and the proceeds go to Kids Sport Saskatchewan.
Awesome. Everyone, make
Excellent.
sure you get there.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, I saw that today and I retweeted it. So next time you share it, I'll retweet it too and try to hopefully.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of people flood there to see y'all. Those meet and greets are a ton of fun,
Yeah.
especially when you got a bunch of the house guests like that.
Yes.
So that's gonna be awesome.
I
All right.
can't wait.
Well, actually, is there any part of your game that we glanced over, or maybe that you want to talk about in a little bit more in depth that you maybe haven't had a chance to?
I think you guys did a pretty good job covering it all. I mean, we talked about the social game, then back against the wall, and I had no choice but to freaking
Kick some
bank
ass.
those vetoes out. But
Oh yeah.
I think
Big
you guys
dog
did a
it.
pretty good job covering it all.
Right on, right on.
Well, you entertained us the whole season, so we have to say
Yes.
thank you very
Thank
much
you,
for
guys.
giving us like some awesome game to talk about. You definitely had, I don't know, you made the show a couple times where it's just like, okay, we're gonna just talk about how Ashley's
Yeah.
kicking ass, and no one sees it.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, no
one,
problem.
One thing that I like about this season of Big Brother Canada
Yeah.
that I actually haven't heard a lot of people talk about is that this was a season of super strategic slash competitive females. I thought that
Yes.
it was a really good cast for you, Sarah, Brittany, Cindy, Neha. I mean, like it was a pretty tough. A pretty tough crowd that you were
There
with.
were some pretty beastly girls we
Some
had,
pretty
for
beastly
sure.
girls, pretty beastly girls, absolutely.
For sure.
Well, the girls versus guys scared everybody for a little while, so
Yes.
it must have been pretty solid. So all right, well hey, McCrae, let's go ahead and wrap it up there.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, follow us at On the Block Pod. That's our Twitter for this podcast. Follow me at Spencer B. Clausen.
You can follow me at McCrae Chum. Ashley.
What's your Twitter?
Mine is at Ashleigh Wood Ashleigh Wood BB.
I was gonna say, like, I have your Twitter handle underneath your picture right now, so
and
yeah,
you're like,
it's.
wait, that's not right.
I was like, oh shit, did I screw it up? Like, god damn it, McCrae. I was about to kick my own ass.
That would have panicked me too.
The whole
No.
episode. God damn.
All
All right, excellent. All right, thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it, and I hope you all take care. And tomorrow, don't forget, we've got a Zach interview at 7:30. Let's hope that everything goes according to plan. Thank you, Ashley, for bearing with us in all of our technical difficulties and what have you.
Guys, no problem.
We love it so much.
Thanks, and make sure you subscribe and hit that thumbs up button there on YouTube.
Thanks, guys.
And make sure you leave plenty of comments. So thanks, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks.
Bye-bye.